In my kitchen today, I will be showing you how to make potato and plantain fufu, and for this recipe I have 3 unripe plantains and lots of potatoes. It doesn't matter how many plantains or potato you use, it just depends on you and what you want, or the number of people you're serving in your family. So what I have here is some small sized potatoes. That is why I'm using more of the potatoes, because the sizes are very little. But if you have the bigger sized potatoes, then you can choose how many quantity of potatoes you would like to use. You just choose what is okay for you or how you want your fufu to turn out. I have already washed all the potatoes and plantains and cleaned them very well. So what I will do now is to begin peeling the potatoes and plantains. Just have to do is to deskin the skin of the potatoes, and then we go over to the next step. So this is actually going to take a little bit of time because I'm using lots of potatoes, so I'll just try my best and then clean them up as fast as possible, and then I'll come back to you once this process is done. I'm done peeling the potatoes, and as you can see, I have placed them in a bowl of cold water to prevent the potatoes from getting dark in appearance. So now what I want to do is to deskin the plantains, and then we'll now go into the blending process. All I'm doing here is to dice the plantains into little sizes so that they can fit into the blender for the blending process. Next, I will dice the potatoes and then add them inside the blender. But the blender is not going to take all these potatoes and plantains at the same time. So I will blend 2 times. So the quantity I have right now in my blender is perfect. What I'll do now is to add some quantity of water inside the blender. So I'll fetch some quantity of water and add it inside my blender. Here is the plantains and here is the potatoes. Like I told you, I'll be blending 2 times, and this is a cup of water. Make sure you don't add too much quantity of water inside the blender. So I just added about just half a cup of water. Can you see that? Just half a cup of water, because I want the fufu to be a little bit thick. But if you want yours to be watery, then it means you have to add more quantity of water. So you have to be very, very careful, but use a very good blender to do the blending process. So here I'm trying to blend it, but it's a little bit difficult. That means the water I added is not okay. I'll open up the blender now and pour in a little quantity of water inside the blender. The idea here is just to be very careful the water you add into your blender. That's just it. Don't just go ahead and pour in a lot of water and ruin the whole entire fufu recipe. I will cover up and then blend. Doing here is making an oilless egusi and okra soup recipe. It's just an emergency soup I'm just putting together for the family. That's what we are going to pair with this fufu we are making now. If you want me to make an egusi and okra soup recipe for you, I mean a perfect egusi and okra soup recipe for you, just drop your comments in the comment section below, request the video, and I will prepare it for you. Yes guys, but for now this is an emergency soup I'm just putting together with some beef and okporoko here. Yes, so we are going to swallow it, as in when you lolo to wofa, you had have a in your throat. Okay guys, the blending process is perfectly done. As you can see, it's looking absolutely very smooth. So you must make sure you have blended your paste until it is very, very smooth, so you don't have some particles of plantains when you're eating your fufu. It has to come out like a flour, wet flour. So this is how it's looking, perfectly made. So now I'll pour it into my pot, and my heat is very, very low. In my cooker I have 0 till number 9, and I'm using number 3 or 4 to make this recipe. Make sure your heat is on the very low range to avoid your fufu from burning. You don't want it to burn though, because it can burn as fast as possible. So the second mixture is ready. I'll just pour it inside here and then continue mixing everything. So you keep stirring consistently, making sure that everything will cook evenly. This is how the consistency of the blended paste looks like, not too thick and not watery. So I'll keep stirring like this until the appearance changes a little bit, or until it becomes a little bit thick. Then I'll bring you back to the camera. So guys, I've been stirring for almost 5 good minutes right now. As you can see, the appearance of the fufu is looking a little bit thickened in nature. So I brought you back to the camera just to show you how far in the cooking process. Right now we are almost 5 minutes into the cooking process, and you can notice some lumps in the pot. Don't worry, as the time goes on they will continue to melt and go back to the right consistency that is required for it. We'll continue doing the stirring process. I'm doing clockwise method, just a circular method like this, and I'm maintaining that approach. So see you next when the appearance changes. Once again guys, I have brought you back to the camera to show you how far we have gone. I'm still cooking on very low heat. That is my number 3 heat in my cooker. So please make sure you don't use high heat like I have said earlier on. Please make sure you maintain patiently a low heat. That is the secret to making a perfect plantain and potato fufu recipe. So please maintain the heat that you're using right from the beginning to make this thing. So right now you can see the consistency is beginning to form into a fufu form. Can you see that? Yes, and it's looking absolutely beautiful right now. Can you guys see? Yes, this consistency is perfect. So we will continue doing the stirring process until the plantain and then potato cooks very well, because we want the appearance to be a little bit dark. That means it is perfectly cooked. So once it is cooked, you will see a difference between what you're seeing right now and what you will see later. So now I'll begin to stir it in this form, because it's coming together to a fufu form. And I'm using a non-stick pot for this. If you have a non-stick pot, I recommend you use a non-stick pot. That will work better for you, So I'll keep stirring it until it cooks very well. Welcome back guys. I've been stirring for almost 10-15 minutes now, and this is what we are having right now. The fufu is perfectly ready. As you can see, the appearance have changed. It's looking darker in consistency. Look at that. Yes, so this is what you should have once you're done stirring the fufu. So I'm not going to mold this in a plastic wrap. If you want to mold it in a plastic wrap, then you can go ahead and do that, but I'm going to serve it with the soup immediately for the family. So I'll just dish this out and then serve. As you can see, it's looking a little bit softer. This is how I want it to be. But if you want it to be harder, you have to leave this for about 5 minutes before you serve it. When you come back to it, you will see that the fufu will be very, very hard in texture. This is few hours after I've made the recipe. This is how the potato is looking now. It has darkened in color, but I'm going to eat it with my soup. I've already served my family with their own meal, so it's time for me to eat mine, because I've been busy since I finished cooking. Become firmer in consistency. Can you see how thick it has turned out? And like I said, the appearance has changed. This is how it's looking, and this is how the egusi and okra soup I made is looking. So this is the egusi and okra soup I made. This is how it's looking. This soup was done without any oil. So this is our fufu, perfectly made. So we are going to go down to business. It goes very smooth.